What's up, Shagadelics? It's Dial Shaggy back with another video for you all. Today I'm doing life-ending knockouts 10 MMA fighters who almost died in the ring. Now, I've done similar videos like this one. I've done life-altering injuries or something along those lines. And now we're doing life-ending knockouts where people have been knocked out and almost died. So it's little variations of the same thing, but I'm sure we're going to see some interesting fights. I've been seeing quite a few interesting fights. I recently got the Disney Plus thing, so I also have ESPN. I've been checking out, a lot of these old fights that happened years and years ago. I've also been checking out the newer stuff. I've been checking out Ultimate Fighter, the new Ultimate Fighter one. I've been checking like anything and anything you could think about I've been doing. And what the heck is that? Some flying bug thing that I've never ever seen before. Anyways, if you're all ready, I'm ready to get started. So like the video if you're like MMA, if you like UFC, if you like my reaction. Subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to check out my Patreon, first link in the description. I'm thinking about doing some more in-depth things on Patreon, maybe talking about boxing, maybe talking about MMA, UFC. I would love to have somebody to talk to about it. I'm the only one that watches it around me. And I'm really into fighting as it is, so yeah. If you guys want to talk to me about MMA and UFC and boxing and all that, hit me up. Talk to me on Patreon, talk to me on here. Just hit me up. I'll answer, I'll talk. It's it's a great thing to talk about to me. Anyways, let's get into this.
If you were wondering what the most dangerous sport in the world is, then you should wonder no more. This video will prove to you that MMA fights are some of the deadliest ever, where the fighters risk their lives every time they step into the ring. Welcome to Top 10 World, and here are the top 10 MMA fighters who almost died in the ring. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Number 10, Hussein Maki. Now, we will start off this list.
Hold on, real quick. Just want to make sure it's good. It's good.
With a fight that's pretty memorable in the MMA world. Now, this was the fight between Matis Zarvaros and Hussein Maki. The big hit came when Hussein Maki managed to kick Matis in the leg, but that kick cracked more than usual. And just as he put his leg down, he immediately fell to the floor. Matis tries to seize the opportunity. Now, what he didn't know was that the crack actually broke his leg. And when he stepped on it, the leg broke and he was on the floor. When the commenters saw what had happened, they basically smashed that like button if you haven't done so already. But no, they actually lost it and couldn't stop screaming for the fight to stop. Number 9, Leslie Smith. If you're grossed out by blood, then this is probably a good time to turn back, because in this fight, Leslie Smith almost lost her ear to Jessica Ai. From the footage beforehand, we knew that she had cauliflower ear. That's when an ear fills with blood underneath the skin. This can be dangerous if the blood is not taken out of the ear immediately. We didn't know what Leslie was thinking, but just one good smack on the side of her head and that ear popped like a pimple. You could even see the blood spritz out in slowed down version of the fight. If they didn't stop the fight, she would have forever lost her ear. Number 8, Joanna Jardinsky.
She would have forever lost her ear? That's crazy. I've never heard of that. Cauliflower ear? That's such a weird thing. And not to mention, why would you be in the fight knowing you have that? Knowing that it could possibly do that. All it took was a little hit. She barely even touched her. Not really barely, but I'm sure it would have barely took a little hit.
Man, women MMA fighters are pretty lethal. Zhang Weili and Joanna Jędrzejczyk landed and received some pretty hard hits in the UFC Strawweight Championship. These 115-pound women looked pretty bad at the end of the fight, and just look at Joanna's head after Zhang had been pronounced the winner. That thing is so swollen she looks like a megamind. But you know what? That wasn't the craziest part. The craziest part was when Joanna released a video for her fans telling them how she's taking the tide to rest and heal her body from the fight. And the only thing we could think of is, did she forget to take her makeup off last night? But to be honest, that wasn't makeup. That was actually bruising from the fight.
Yep. So, if you guys have seen some of my other previous videos that were done more recently, I've done a video on those type of injuries, and she was on it. The hematoma in her head. That's just crazy how hard she got hit in that fight. But it was a good fight.
Number 7, Mike Perry. Again, if you hate blood, turn back now. This video has some pretty graphic content. Now onto the fight. Mike Perry was fighting Luque when he received a knee to the face, completely shattering his nose in the process. But that's not the worst part. That came when Luque had him in a lockdown and squeezed his head as tightly as possible. This made Mike bleed, and he bled a lot. At one point, he was basically drowning in his own blood. Luque's entire side was covered in blood. When the fight was over, Mike saw that his nose looked like, and even he was scared. He just couldn't wait for the fight to be over so he could go to the ER and get his corrective rhinoplasty. And you know what? After a few months, no one could even notice his nose was shattered into a million pieces. Number 6, Donald Cerrone.
No worries. After a few months, no one will even know your freaking nose was shattered.
Now, Donald Cerrone is a legend when it comes to fighting. He's old school, and therefore, this guy is tough like nails. But in the fight with Tony Ferguson, he made a rookie mistake, and this cost him the win. Cerrone landed some great shots, and Tony Ferguson turned his bloody red in return. And this is where Donald made the mistake. Just as his nose was filling up with blood, he just blew his nose on the stage. This caused his right eye to fill up with blood and shut completely. And since he couldn't see anything, the ref had to stop the fight and proclaim Tony the winner. When Joe Rogan, one of the commenters, approached him to ask him about it, Cerrone just said that he shouldn't have done that and that he knows he screwed up. He even apologized to Tony and to the fans for not being able to finish the fight. Number 5, Alistair Overeem. One of the worst.
Man, that looked crazy. His eye even filled up with blood, and then literally his eye was closed. Like, it's a very good thing they stopped that fight. He could have been blind at the end of that fight.
First injuries in MMA history occurred in the fight between Alistair and Run and Strike. After a few minor hits prior, Run and Strike managed to land a clean shot and Alistair was on the freaking ground. And after the referee saw what happened, he had to stop the fight immediately. Just like Leslie, Alistair suffered from perforated skin, but this time it wasn't his ear, it was actually his lips. And from this shot, you can clearly see that his lips started shaking when Rosa Rand finally landed the shot. Immediately after the fight, Alistair went to a plastic surgeon and got his lip fixed. Now, thanks to the wonders of medicine, he only had a very minor scar on his lip. And just imagine, his lip was torn all the way up to his nose. Whew, that had to hurt.
That's crazy that his gloves did that. Literally ripped his freaking mouth like that. That man had some crazy power to be able to just shred his mouth like that. That was a beautiful punch.
Number 4, Sage Northcutt. In the fight between Sage Northcutt and Cosmo Alexandre, we all know who was the winner. Cosmo managed to knock Sage out with a single blow, and then as he was going down, he pounded him some more until the ref stopped the fight. Now during the fight, Sage managed to recover and he got up to his feet, but his face was hiding a terrible secret. When he went to have it checked, he discovered that he suffered from a broken cheekbone. After the x-rays, he immediately underwent surgery and tried to heal his injuries. After a few months, Sage released a video of him showing his fans how he was healing and getting better. Number 3, the worst leg break. Now,
see, that's the only thing I'm scared of. If I were to go into a UFC fight or something, that'd be the only thing I'd be scared of, ever, is getting hit in the eyes, somewhere in the head, to cause internal bleeding, and end up being blind or something. That's my only 2 fears inside.
this fight will give you nightmares for the rest of your life. It was one between Chris Williams and Jonathan King, but this last one bit off a little bit more than it could chew. Tempted by the kick that Chris landed a few seconds before, Jonathan wanted to return the favor, but the only one hurt was Jonathan himself.
Whoa.
After kicking him, King's leg broke in half, and he fell to the floor. Even Chris ran away when he saw his foot sticking out at a 90-degree angle. The ref immediately stopped the fight, and the paramedics in the house rushed King to the hospital. Number 2, Shinya Aoki middle finger. There's people, there's a-holes, and then there's Shinya Aoki. Although this Japanese MMA fighter is somewhat of the master of submission, he manages to get his opponent in a lockdown and just hold him there. That's exactly what happened to Mitsuto Hirota in this match. But while he was on top of him holding Mitsuto's arm behind his back and basically smacking him over the head from above, he was getting angry. Mitsuto wasn't quitting, so he took matters into his own hands. What does that mean? That means he took his arm, twisted it, and laid it on top. And just a few seconds later, you heard a quick crack noise. When he got up, Mitsuto's arm was broken and twisted. And did Aoki cry about it? Quite the contrary. He went over his defeated opponent and showed him the middle finger. That's the biggest a-hole move you could pull, man. Number 1, Cyborg.
He might have been an a-hole about it, but at the same time, he had to do it. The guy wasn't tapping, and it was for his own good. He should have tapped, because as soon as he put it in the opposite way and twisted his arm around and heard it pop, he had held it the entire time and not tapped. Like, the second he did that, you should have tapped before he actually put it in, because you knew it was going to happen. So his will and drive to want to win that fight cost him his arm, realistically.
Santos. Had it not been for the paramedics, Cyborg Santos would have been a dead man. In the match between Michael Venom Page and him, Cyborg suffered a flying knee kick to the forehead, and the knockout wasn't the only thing that this did. Cyborg suffered fractures to the skull, and he had to be rushed to the hospital immediately. And for a couple days, doctors didn't know if he was going to survive or not. Joe Rogan even said this is one of the worst MMA injuries he's ever seen. When Michael talked about this event in an interview, he said he didn't hear the crack while in the ring. It was only after watching the video that he realized what he had done. And on that note, we end this video. But hey, do you know any other MMA fighters that almost died in the ring? You can tell us in the comments section below.
So, that's just crazy. It's freaking nuts. He hit him so hard with his knee that his skull cracked open. Like, he literally it was indented right here. That's so dangerous. He could have died very, very, very easily, but he got very lucky. I believe he's still alive, as far as I know. But that's sketch. That's very sketchy. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I did, watching people get severely, severely injured and hurt. Although this is all for entertainment, this is all for their paychecks, and this is just how they make their money. So don't be saying that I'm like a psychopath or something because I like seeing people get hurt or something. I don't know. I just enjoy the art of fighting. But if you enjoyed this video, like the video. If you enjoy MMA or UFC, make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to check out my Patreon, first link in the description. And I'll see you all on the next video. Peace.